Hello there everyone, this is the Wayback Tech, and in this video I'm going to be going over the system that I built in the previous video, showing you how I laid out the desktop, telling you about the operating system that I've got installed in this thing, which is Manjaro Linux 14.2, and I'm quite happy with this. I tried several different other distributions, and this one turned out to be the best performing distribution, in my opinion anyway, of all the others, including Ubuntu and some of the custom privately developed distributions that I tried. There was one other one, Solus, I think it was called, that worked extremely well in it, but I found the software repository was a little bit limited on it. So I went with Manjaro, which is an Arch-based Linux, so it's going to be updated constantly. It's not something like Ubuntu where you've got those point releases every 6 months that come out and you got to reinstall the whole system. This is constantly up to date, and it will be until, well, Arch doesn't exist anymore, I guess. So, I've done a little bit of customization out of the box. This, well, let's look at an example. Is search right over here is located all the way over here. Everything down on this toolbar you see is a widget. So all these things can exist on the desktop as well as down here, or any other custom bar that you want to create. I've got my temperature monitors down here for the processors and the hard drive. I got the CPU and memory load right here, system load monitor. Again, these are all widgets. There is a weather app widget, whatever you want to call it, that can live down here too, but I didn't really like that one very much. So as you can see, I've got Steam installed in this system. But before I go into that, let me show you the other customization I did here. So normally KDE has a start menu right here, similar to Windows 7. But on this version, this is KDE 5, this Plasma desktop, there's also a widget. These are called widgets again, this is called a dashboard, which is really cool, and I really like this. It's a really nice, modern, clean look. It's easy to find what I'm looking for right here, and all of my recently opened applications stay right here. I can put my favorites over here if I want to, and all of these can exist down here on the toolbar at the bottom as well. But it works out really good. I like this. I think this is what Windows 10 should have been, actually. So I got Dolphin File Manager, which for those of you who don't know, this is like Windows Explorer. And yeah, I've got Show Hidden Files turned on here because I needed to transfer my Firefox database over to this computer from my other Linux, which was Maui, which I was testing for the last 2 months or so. And one of the problems I had with it was I'd have screen tearing along the edges, well, edge tearing along these windows, I should say, and I'd also have tearing on videos. It'd be tearing during motion on videos, whether it be on VLC or YouTube or whatever. So this Manjaro works so much better. It is running an AMD driver. This is an R285 video card. I think this is the open source driver, which except for the most recent GPUs that AMD has released, the R300 series and the 400 series, the RX 400, 460, 470, 480, everything prior to those is on the open source platform now, so I think that's what this is. It's kind of a little bit of an older layout of Catalyst, but it works just fine. You got your information right here. There's no clock speed control that I can find on here, but I might have to look and see if there's another add-on that I can do for that. Let's see your Steam. Let's open that up real quick. I'll show you that. I got Descent Underground right here. This is a game I purchased. I've actually got quite a few games. I got American Truck Simulator as well. This is kind of fun. But for those of you who are like Descent, I would recommend checking this out. It is $30. I think they've got a free demo on this, playable demo. But this is a new Descent game that these guys are doing, so it's pretty cool. It's cross-platform, so this works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. I've got it on the Linux. Well, I don't have it downloaded yet, but I will as soon as I get my 480 gigabyte SSD installed in this system, which I figured out a way to image this, so that should be hopefully pretty easy to do. So I've got a, let me go back into Dolphin here. So I've got a 128 gigabyte SSD that I installed. It came out of a MacBook Pro a few years ago, and Manjaro wanted about 51 of that for the swap partition. So I'm down to, well, let's say 61.1 gigabytes total here. So I'm down to 44 right now. That's not being used. So once I get this upgraded to 480 gigabyte SSD, I'm going to install some games on this thing and have a little bit more fun with it. But let me show the search here real quick too. It works really well. So we'll do Kdenlive here. I'll show you what that looks like. And it has a very, since I got the black theme, window theme treatment going on here, this is also black. Out of the box, it's kind of a grayish color if you've got that kind of a theme going on. So it looks very similar to Vegas. It has many of the same abilities that Vegas does. Things are a little bit of a different place, but there's some things that I've discovered that are far easier to do with Kdenlive than they are to do on Vegas. Kdenlive also has the 265 codec in here when you render a video. The problem is I did a test with that, and I uploaded it to YouTube, and YouTube said, I don't know what to do with this file. Screw you. So YouTube doesn't like the 265 codec for some reason. I don't know if anybody's messed with that, if they've had any experiences. Maybe they can tell me what I did wrong. I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty easy option to have it there. Just you select it and choose your quality type, and that's pretty much it. So maybe the codec, the 265 codec that's provided with KDE, YouTube doesn't know what to do with it apparently, even though YouTube supposedly renders their videos in 265. The real advantage with that is that the quality was much better, and the file size was far, far smaller. I'd say probably a quarter of the size at least, maybe even a fifth or sixth of the size. It was basically a 2 gigabyte, 1.5 to 2 gigabyte video file was like 400 meg. So it was a pretty big difference there, and it looked better too. But unfortunately, at the moment, that doesn't seem to work with YouTube. YouTube doesn't seem to really be happy with that. The one final thing I want to mention is the cooling on this case. You'll notice here my processors, I think these thermal monitors here are just a little bit quirky, because you can see how rapidly they jump around. But let's see, I'm rendering at about 21, 23% CPU load there. But the case here I found is very restrictive on airflow from the front. I had to pull one of the filters out from the bottom here to get more airflow. As I found, I was getting processor temperatures at even less load than this. I was getting up to 150, 160, 170 degrees at some points. So that's not good. So I took slid the top cover back a little bit, and I could feel a massive vacuum just coming through there. So the rear fan is pulling more air than the case is able to flow from the front vents here. So basically the front fans are not doing anything at all. They're not helping the situation at all. So I found pulling out the filter from the bottom alleviated a lot of the temperature problems that I was having. You can see it jumps around. I'm not sure why that monitor jumps around, but it does. So that's an issue I'm going to have to take care of at some point. I like to run it with the filters, but they don't seem like they would be that restrictive, but apparently it's restrictive enough to cause that much of an airflow problem. Like I said in the previous video, I think I'm going to do some ducting on this case, and with the CPU, I might take the fans off. I've got 2 coolers on the memory because the memory gets extremely hot. So if I can do some ducting and just have that rear case fan doing all the cooling, pulling air through those heat sinks and around the memory and stuff like that, well, if I can get this thing down to 1 fan, it'll be really, really quiet. The hard drive right now I don't have a fan on. I put a fan down there, and every one of them I put on there was really loud. So I could put a 120 millimeter in there, but that would require me removing a panel, and one of the screws is being covered by the motherboard, so I can't really get to it. So I've been watching the temperature of the hard drive here. 117. That's okay. I haven't really seen it get hotter than that. And this system's been on since about 5 p.m., 5:30, so it's doing all right, I think. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, guys. So thank you very much for watching. And I will do more Linux videos in the future. I want to do some gaming on Linux. I want to show off Descent Underground and how it plays on the system and things like that. So take care, everyone, and peace out.